Hello, my name is Seth Jessen, and today we're going to be talking about Benjamin Franklin. From the reading, he was one of the um, people that stood out to me, not just because he was the first one in the chapter that was discussed, but because of the way he would force himself to take that initial step backwards and not get emotional. Um, from this more detached position, he would focus completely on the people he was dealing with, cutting off his own insecurities and desires from the equation. That's directly from the text. At first, this seemed really strange to me because I'd never had that insight of Benjamin Franklin. He'd always been in my mind as the man who had invented the printing press, bifocals, the lightning rod, the whole curtain in the key or kite in the key thing. But this really kind of makes sense. It allowed him to view the current situation with a higher purpose. He could detach his personal goals to better understand those that he would interact with to obtain those goals. That it's kind of weird, but when you think about it, by getting to know what made others tick, he could get them to tick in sequence with his talk, right? And he could do it with a calm demeanor. A great example of this from the text was the situation he dealt with Norris, the way he learned about the man he needed to conduct politics with before he actually conducted any kind of engagement, both socially and politically, was inspiring. By asking to see his book collection, he created a common ground upon which he and Norris could build upon. So, see, he found out what made Norris tick. And it just so happened Benjamin Franklin was into books as well. And he really wanted to see Norris's collection. And he borrowed that book and sent it back with a thank you note. And the next day, they had a conversation. Wouldn't have happened unless Benjamin Franklin had taken the time to slow down and get to know who he was dealing with. If I had the opportunity to ask Benjamin Franklin two questions, I would ask him how difficult it was to create this new persona, the one where he detached himself emotionally from all of his social and political workings. And I would ask him if he created the right persona. Because when you look at Benjamin Franklin, his his path to mastery began much the same as Teresa Fernandez because he continued to dedicate himself to mastering his craft. His was more changed more into a social mastery rather than a practical mastery when he entered the realm of politics. Fernandez mastered her medium and realized that she had become the center of attention, and I would say Benjamin Franklin could say the same of himself, but does he feel that he mastered his role in politics or in business? What would he deem as his personal weakness, and or did he focus on that, or did he turn his weaknesses into a strength, or did he just focus on his strengths and put his energy and efforts into those? So I would like to know that path. And we read it in the text, but it doesn't really give a personal account. And being that Benjamin Franklin has detached himself emotionally, as the reading would state, would he even be willing to say, yeah, this was hard, or this was that? Maybe he would want to keep with that persona that he created of detaching himself emotionally so that there is no emotional frustration and that it was just another day in the books. I don't know. When it comes to the deadly realities that I need to concern myself with every day would be envy and laziness. Envy, for one, because there are some amazing artists in the world and they do some insanely great stuff. And it can be intimidating, inspiring, and also just frustrating because you're like, man, how do they do that? I wish I was that good. I wish I was that good. And, you know, I hope one day to be as good as they are, but I can't become them. And I need to understand that and I need to appreciate that. But this understanding of that I can only become me, because I am me, um, is something that can lead into the next thing I need to worry about, which is laziness. Finding the easiest way of getting something accomplished is something that every person does, and this can lead to complacency. You are somebody that gets nothing done and gets nothing accomplished. You're not reinventing yourself. You're not reinventing the industry, and you're going to get left behind. It's a lot easier to hop on the hype train than it is to create the hype train. Do you know what I mean?